portion of Fox 43 AM Live is sponsored by Endeavor Private Wealth.
Welcome back to Fox 43 AM Live. Chris McGee, Managing Partner at Endeavor Private Wealth, is joining us for our latest segment on investing. Chris, good morning.
Good morning.
So Chris, on our last two programs, your colleague Brady Franklin discussed how homeowners may qualify for capital gains tax exclusion on the sale of their primary residence. And last week, you discussed how investors who sell appreciated property or business assets may realize significant tax benefits if they invest all or a portion of their proceeds in a qualified opportunity zone fund, provided they're able to help hold that investment for a period of 10 years. Are there other ways for investors to dispose of appreciated property and defer the recognition of their gain for income tax purposes?
Yes, there is a transaction known as a 1031 exchange, which may enable owners of real property that is used for business or held as an investment solely for business or investment purposes to exchange that property for other property that is the same type or like kind. Generally, if an investor makes a like-kind exchange, they are not required to recognize gain or losses under the Internal Revenue Code Section 1031, as they would be required if they sold the property for cash.
And what determines whether a property is of like kind?
Properties are considered like kind if they're of the same nature, character, class, or even if they're different grades or quality. Real property held for investment or productive use in a trade or business is generally referred to as like kind, regardless whether they're improved or unimproved. For example, raw land can be exchanged for rental property, and that would be a like kind, would be retail space exchanged for a hotel or motel. A farm could be exchanged for a golf course, or a single family rental property could be swapped for a multi-family rental property.
Now, what types of properties would not be eligible for like kind treatment then?
Under the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act, exchanges of machinery, equipment, vehicles, artwork, collectibles, patents, and other intellectual property do not qualify for the non-recognition of gains or losses in like-kind exchanges. A property within the United States may only be exchanged with other real estate in the U.S., and if the property is outside of the U.S., the exchange can only be for other real estate outside the U.S.
And how does a 1031 exchange work?
A qualified intermediary, such as a real estate attorney, a CPA, or a financial institution, is selected prior to closing. Proceeds from the sale must be held in escrow by the third party and then used to buy the new property. The seller cannot receive the funds directly, not even temporarily. And then within 45 days of the transfer of the sale that is complete, an identification of replacement property exhibit must be filled out and completed. The seller has a maximum of 180 days from the transfer date of the property to acquire any and all identified replacement properties, and the qualified intermediary facilitates the completion of the exchange.
And Chris, any final thoughts on 1031 exchanges?
1031 exchanges may enable investors to roll over gains from one piece of investment real estate to another, and another, and another, since there's no limit in how many times this approach is used. Ultimately, the investor will pay tax when they sell for cash, but that may be many years down the road. However, if 1031 exchange property is owned at the time of the investor's death, the property will receive a step up in cost basis, which also makes for an interesting estate planning technique. There are a multitude of other considerations and technical requirements associated with a 1031 exchange. That is why it is imperative to consult with your tax and legal advisor to understand the implications and tax consequences of any exchange transaction.
Well, Chris, as always, thank you for your time. We always appreciate your thoughts. And for everybody, to learn more about Endeavor Private Wealth, visit EndeavorPW.com.
The preceding portion of Fox 43 AM Live was sponsored by Endeavor Private Wealth.